How do you do, ladies and gentlemen? This is Knox Manning in Hollywood, taking you on another brief journey behind the scenes. Once again, we draw the curtain to watch a fragment of forgotten drama, a story of people and places already hidden in the background of destiny. Today, we shall meet an inventor who won success and immense fortune because of a funeral. But first, a word from a familiar voice. That's something to remember. And now, step with me behind the scenes to the office of a Chicago railroad magnate in the middle of the 19th century. This dreary room is a far cry from the chromium and glass and deep upholstered quarters of a modern industrialist. The scarred oak desk and the horsehair chairs set a scene for practical, hard-headed business, not for comfort and relaxation. As we enter the room, the company official is pushing aside the sheaf of papers which an earnest young man has thrust before him. The railroad man shook his head grimly. "I'm sorry, George. I don't feel like talking business today. I'm closing up now anyway. Suppose you come back in a week or so. This isn't the time to discuss new gadgets." The inventor stood his ground. It had taken him weeks to make this appointment, and nothing was going to postpone it again. Nothing. "I know how you feel, sir," he replied. "It does seem rather foolish to talk about cold, realistic business details at a time like this. But I think that what I have to offer your company is important, not just to us, but to the whole country, to the nation's future. And I think this is an excellent moment to consider the nation's future." The other man relaxed slightly and glanced over at the sheaf of drawings. "Oh, maybe you're right, George. Anyway, I'll take a look at it." "I built a sample, sir," the inventor said, "down at the railroad yards. It works perfectly." The businessman frowned. "You've constructed a sample on these plans?" George nodded. He most certainly had built one, full size and perfect running order, and it had cost him all the money he could scrape together, $20,000. The industrialist smiled a little ruefully. "My dear boy, you've wasted your time and your money. Why, in order for me to use your invention on my line, I'd need a whole new railroad. This design doesn't fit any of my existing equipment." George was forced to agree. His apparatus would require certain modifications of railroad practice, but it would be worth it. All the railroads would realize that sooner or later. His designs were the thing of the future. The public would demand them. They were certain to be accepted someday. The industrialist lifted an eyebrow. "Well, perhaps someday, but not in my time and not on my railroad." At that moment, the office door opened. The secretary rushed inside and handed a slip of paper to the inventor. George glanced at the telegram, which had been forwarded from his office. His face was puzzled as he ripped it open. Then his features relaxed into a smile. "Good news, George?" asked the man behind the desk. "In a way it is, sir. Good for me. This message means that you are going to change your equipment, modify it, and use my invention. And in your time and on your railroad. Whether you want to or not, you're going to use it." And now, before the conclusion of our story, a word from your announcer. The inventor laid the telegram on the desk. "You see, sir," he explained, "this message is from Washington. They've decided to use my sample car to carry President Lincoln's body from Chicago to Springfield. They're sure that your railroad will make the adjustments necessary for the trip." And, of course, the railroad complied, changed their equipment, and proved the desirability of the young man's invention. President Lincoln's last journey became the first of many trips made by George Pullman's car. Trips that have carried the Pullman up and down all the railroads of America. This is Knox Manning inviting you to join me again Monday at this time for another journey into that dim half-light where chance and destiny lift men out from behind the scenes. This is a Hamilton Whitney radio production transcribed in Hollywood.